have to be very selfless. You can't just come in and just take. You have to be able to offer something. And that's with any network. It's a two-way street. I think I needed to go to a school where it's much smaller. I needed that personal attention. And HBCUs offer that. So Central State University gave me a chance to play football. And I wasn't going to college if I couldn't play football. One of my biggest missions, the YN. I want to offer something to that group. The issue that I'm having today with the YN is that there's no rules. Back in our day, if we was talking to somebody our age, there was a level of respect there. If you talking to a grown man, like there's a level of respect. I want to try to get back to that.
Today's guest is Jude Diegue, North Miami High School class of 2006, a former college athlete at Central State University. Jude is now a lead data management engineer and a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, but his true passion lies in mentorship. Through his nonprofit work and dedication to his community, Jude bridges the gap for young men, guiding them from high school to professional life with a foundation of humility, respect, and service.
Have you ever been in a situation where being a Kappa was able to help you out?
The benefits of Greek life, they are real. My other mentor snuck me in through the back door to my first corporate job. Chase called me and told me that they wanted to interview me. Never applied, but he's the one that was in the background making phone calls.
If you could give an advice to anyone who's listening, what advice would you give them?
We need to get back to focusing on showing these young men how to be humble. They're the next generation coming up. I would advise us to place a heavy emphasis on getting back to humility.
Welcome to Jude's Legacy Enterprise production, where story connects generations. A conversation with the pioneers, a segment that celebrates the life and journey of North Miami Senior High School pioneers by bridging the past and the present to inspire the future. Behind every name, there is a story. Jude Diegue, class of 2006. It is a pleasure to have him here in the studio with us today. Jude, why HBCUs?
Oh man, I would say my personal experience, I had to go to an HBCU. And I'm not gonna try to, down myself too much, but I think I needed to go to a school where it's much smaller, where, I needed that personal attention. And HBCUs offer that, what I'm saying? Like the PWIs got big classes with auditoriums, 200 students, that kind of thing. I needed to have direct access to my professors. So going to an HBCU from an academic standpoint, I think it offered that, but I also play football too. So Central State University gave me a chance to play football. And
what division is that?
I'm Division II.
Okay.
Division II. And I wasn't going to college if I couldn't play football.
Yeah, because you did play in high school.
I did play in high school, played quarterback in high school. Didn't play no defense, never learned to tackle or anything like that. But they thought I could play safety, but quarterback was my thing. Okay. So Central State gave me a chance to play quarterback, and I actually played quarterback at the college level. So.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. So you only played quarterback in high school?
Quarterback, punter, and Coach Graham tried to get me to play safety, but I couldn't.
Somebody told me you played running back. You was a running back for a little while. No?
Running back, I never got in any games as a running back in high school, but I did play running back in college for one game, and that's what ended my career. Couldn't take a hit either.
What do you think about the 25-26 season for the high school now? Because they have a pretty good team.
I was impressed.
Yes.
I was impressed, man. I'm thankful that I got a chance to see those guys play, because how they're playing today, that's not how we played back then.
Of course.
And they're much more athletic now, bro.
Right.
To see how explosive they are, they're faster, and they're actually winning these days. And I'm going to give them their props. They winning. Back in my day, we didn't win that many games. So I'm proud of our football team now. Yep.
Do you think the quarterback is the hardest position on the field?
Do I think quarterback is?
So wait, let me rephrase that question, right? Yeah. There's a saying out there that they say the corner is the hardest position in football, right? My argument is quarterback, the position of being a QB. But I want to hear from somebody that played football, because I didn't play football. I play basketball. So
I would say corner is, as a quarterback, being told that quarterback is the hardest position, I would turn around and say corner is probably the hardest position, because you got to mimic and mirror a receiver's routes every down. That's hard to do. And then try not to get bombed, because getting bombed, you already know in South Florida is the worst thing to happen to you. Right? You know what I'm saying?
You already know that noise coming.
Exactly. And you got to be able to tackle. You got to learn techniques. I would say corner is the hardest position as a quarterback. But I've been told quarterback is the hardest.
So you think corner is the hardest position in
football?
football?
I would say so, man. That's a hard position. Yeah. Yep.
How underfunded are the HBCUs, in your opinion? Because I saw Trump did, try to give them fundings.
Yeah. So the HBCUs are heavily underfunded.
Okay.
Right? Because, at this stage in my life, I do pay attention to the politics.
Okay.
And how, sorry to say it, our white counterparts, they've got it much easier than we do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They don't have to ask. We don't want to have to ask, too. Just give us our share of what we deserve.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think, granted that we are heavily underfunded, I'm thankful and proud of the work that we're doing as a community. You know what I'm saying? I do want to credit Will Serious for really putting some structure around the Alumni Association.
Right.
And making sure that all the different classes have some type of scholarship element to your planning. You know what I'm saying? I know the class of 06, we've been doing a lot of planning around our events to make sure that we can give back. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's, from a mentorship, sponsorship standpoint, we try to make sure that we place a heavy emphasis on giving back to our students. And if you do have a connection at your alma mater from the university,
right,
try to sneak them in through the back door. We all know what the back door is.
Of course.
I can make a phone call to say, hey, I've got a student I've been working with. Do you have a budget within your department so the student can get into school? Because we already know that they're not coming out of high school full scholarship. But you're my plug. I need you to look out for the student. And that's the conversation. We need to have more conversations like that.
What'd you major in?
In undergrad, business, and grad was business. Yep.
Business. What are you doing now in business? Are you working on that field, or are you?
You could say that. So I'm a lead data management engineer, and basically what that is I develop business intelligence tools for the company I work for, the American Chemical Society. So figuring out who our customers are, figuring out what our customer profiles are, who's doing the most business with us, what countries, what products are they buying, and then actually putting that in a visualization or giving the raw data to say, here's the data that backs up, the data that I'm presenting to you. You know what I'm saying? So there is a heavy business element. I have to be able to translate business conversations into a technical product. So.
And do you guys do AI a lot or no?
I do use AI.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because as a developer, writing code, you'll get stumped sometimes, and AI help you finish that code. This is where you're messing up at, or your syntax is wrong, that kind of thing. So, yeah. I do have to use AI. I use it mostly for like my coding when I get stuck.
Where do you see AI going in business?
In business, I think there's enough data out there to where AI can find, just opportunities in business that we don't see easily. Because there's different types of AI, right? there's generative AI. There's AI that actually makes decisions for you, or there's some AI out there that it kind of takes it's supposed to mimic the human thinking process. But I think there's enough data out there where it can actually sift through and find opportunities and then put it in front of you. But you still have to use the human element to be able to take advantage of it, though. You know what I'm saying? So
you told me that you pledged.
I did pledge.
What made you pledge, and what did you pledge?
What made me pledge the greatest fraternity known to man, and Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated?
Here we go.
Nah, man, my introduction to Greek life, man, I'm thankful for how I was I'm introduced into Greek life, because I've been asked the question, like, how is Greek life, and especially with our culture. I was having this conversation yesterday with Dr. Carolyn Prado. I told her that, culturally, it's not something that I grew up knowing, it's not something that you saw that much in the Asian community.
Okay.
But I personally think that the culture has a lot to offer to Greek life. Because one thing I can say about us as Haitians, man, is that we support each other. You know what I'm saying? Community is very important and very deep to us. And that's something that I brought to my experience in Greek life in my process. So going back to your original question, what made me want to pledge? So, like I said, I went to Central State University. Graduated in 2010, and it was actually my sophomore year where I met my mentor / life coach. It's kind of like my spiritual dad, Reginald Guy, who's no longer with us. He was on campus during homecoming in 2007. And he was like, he was in the alumni tower. He was like, yo, I'm looking for a sophomore who's got a 2.5 GPA. I've got a scholarship I want to give to. I mean, literally just made an announcement. Looking for somebody to give a scholarship to. And I raised my hand. I was like, I'm a sophomore. I got a 2.7 GPA. And he was like, all right, Jude, I need you to meet me at this church tomorrow. We're going to present the scholarship to you, and we'll talk about some things afterwards. So, and I'm going to give you the short version. I'm not going to try to be too long-winded about it. But it was actually him that kind of took me under his wing. And like literally that next day that I spunked with him, I was like, man, I want to pledge Kappa. I like this dude. You know what I'm saying? Because he took me around the city of Dayton. That was my first time actually seeing the city of Dayton, because I didn't have a car on campus or anything like that. And yeah, he just really took an interest in me, man. And just how he mentored me and helped me change my life. He met me raw.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The South Florida swag that we all could say, right?
Yeah.
The South Florida swag, mouth full of goals. You know what I'm saying? You might have wigs or dreads. I ain't have no dreads or anything like that.
Of course.
But he met me with a mouth full of goals. But he sized me up and he's like, you know what, Jude, your heart is in the right place. I want to help you. And that's what I would say. That was probably one of the days. That was the day that my life really took a change. You know what I'm saying? It's when I met this gentleman. And like I said, he's no longer with us, but I do try to model my life after this brother. So yeah.
And what was the experience of you pledging? Like the process?
The process itself.
Yeah, the process. Why you laugh, Jude?
The process itself, I think what it taught me was, in this life, it's going to present a lot of challenges to you. And I'm thankful that, the day that I made Kappa, that, the world doesn't get any harder living this life. You know what I'm saying? People are going to talk to you crazy. People are going to challenge you. They're going to push you up again. They're going to take you to your breaking point. But I would say my process taught me how to navigate those situations. You know what I'm saying? How to keep my emotions in check. You know what I'm saying? How to talk to people. You know what I'm saying? And really understand, if we're having a conversation, tell me what you're trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? Don't beat around the bush. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever I meet somebody, I always look them in the eyes. I shake them with a strong handshake. You know what I'm saying? I don't sit down when I'm shaking another man's hand. If a man is sitting down, I'm not going to shake your hand. I'll give you a fist bump, but I'm taught to stand up. He taught me to stand up. You look a man in his eyes and you shake him with a strong grip. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So, just really taught me about the little nuances in life that I've taken with me. You know what I'm saying? So, but it also taught me service, because we all need help in this life. And taking away from Kappa real quick, this thing that you gentlemen are doing right here, man, this is deep to me. So that's why when we met at the NB game.
Yes.
And he was like, Jude.
We met at they were giving us a tour at the high school. So that's where we first met. Class of 06 was doing something at the high school. They were giving the alumni tours. Exactly. And we were speaking with the kids. So we met there, then went to
the next day at the game there. It is.
Yes.
Right. So when you brought it up at the school at visiting alumni day, and you say, when you told me that you wanted to do this, and I got a chance to see like the clips and everything, I'm like, nah, this brother's doing some real work here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I really do think you're doing God's work, because I'm also a spiritual dude too.
Nice.
But I do think our community needs this, because the students at North Miami, I know they see us. You drive in the police car and they see you in the city.
Right.
But there is a foundation. The experience that they're going through right now, that's a part of the foundation.
Of course.
We used to be you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Facts.
there's that gap. I think this has helped fill that gap between, as an 18, 17, 18-year-old high school student to a young professional. There's that gap that we need to be able to advise our students on. So, but no, I'm really proud to be a part of this, man. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for this opportunity. I'm thankful for this invitation. So any contribution that I can make towards that effort, bro, I appreciate it, man.
I have two more questions for you about your fraternity,
please.
right? Have you ever been in a situation where being a Kappa was able to help you out?
Being a Kappa?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. The benefits of Greek life, they are real. My other mentor worked at JP Morgan back in 2010, and he's my life coach to today. He snuck me in through the back door to my first corporate job.
Oh, nice.
You know what I'm saying? So Chase called me and told me that they wanted to interview me. Never applied. But he's the one that was in the background making phone calls like, hey, I've got this kid I've been working with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to give him an interview for this.
Right. So it's a brotherhood. That brotherhood is real.
It's absolutely a brotherhood. And some people, I'm going to go ahead and say this on camera, for some people it's not a brotherhood. Because within this organization, you have to be very selfless. You can't just come in and just take. You have to be able to offer something. And that's with any network.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? It's a two-way street. You get some people that come in and just take. You know, they don't have a great experience.
Right.
Because you might come across somebody like me, like, yo, dude, you ain't bringing nothing to the party. Like,
to the table.
You ain't bringing nothing to the table. What you got going on?
Of course.
Where did you go through? Who are you? You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, that's not just with Kappa. That's just with any organization. I think most people in Greek life will tell you that. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to offer something back to the fold.
A lot of people also say that pledging is a gateway to Masonic, or a lot of people think it's related to Masonry. So I don't know much about Masonry, but
Any other rumors about the process? I'm gonna tell you right now, me personally, and I can speak for a lot of people. All these other rumors that people are hearing about, that we worship this and that and that, that's not true. That's not true. Not one day have I ever worshipped a statue, or praise a different God or anything like that. Like, nah, we're a Christian organization.
Okay.
We're a Christian organization.
But are you only speaking on the behalf of Kappas?
I can only speak on the behalf of
Perfect.
Kappas.
Okay.
That's where my membership is. You know what I'm saying? But I imagine with these other organizations, it's not much different. I don't think they're over there worshiping a different God. You got to devote your life to something.
Pierce had a question for you. What was the question you had from earlier?
What question exactly?
As far as you was asking, why do they take it so personal?
Oh yeah, so
okay.
that's a very important question.
Right.
So when you scroll on TikTok or Instagram, and if they see somebody mimicking a dance, Kappas in the comments will get upset, or if they see it in person, they'll try to check the person, or
Yeah.
and they get upset about it. Why is that though?
So what I was taught and how I was raised in the frat was there's a meaning behind pretty much everything that we do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you see us strolling and we're in unison like that, it's for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And it took a lot of hard work to earn the ability to do that and to be recognized as a member doing that stroll. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not a member, nobody taught you that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you got going on? You know what I'm saying? And some people be like, yo, I'm just trying to be funny. Well, it's not that funny. Like, I went through hell and back to be able to do that and be recognized as a member doing that. Like, that's offensive, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I am one of those people. It is offensive. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's meaning behind that, which I can't talk about the meaning behind strolling and stepping and all that stuff. I'm not going to talk about that on camera, but there is meaning behind that. And the brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi, they know what I'm talking about. Like, you learn that from someplace. There's meaning behind that, those steps, that unison.
Right.
Being all in one step. Like, there's meaning behind all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the stepping and all that. There's meaning behind all of that. So, yeah.
Are you married?
Unmarried. I would love to be married one day.
But you never got married.
I've never been married.
So do you plan on having your Kappa brothers at your reception doing that dance with you? Because I always imagine that if I was one,
Yeah. That's something. I know a lot of newts, man. That's gonna be a long stroll line, man. But I do plan to.
But it'll be different.
Right.
It'll be epic,
Right. I do plan to serenade my bride, whoever decides to marry me one day. You know what I'm saying? Just so she can know that, this is a part of the man that I'm marrying. This is something that's deep to him. So I do plan to serenade my bride whenever that day is. You know what I'm saying?
That's nice, man.
Yeah. Yep.
So you sound like a very disciplined man. From football to you play football in high school, play football in college, and pledging and accomplishing your degrees. From that body of work that you've accomplished, right? What made you as far as what made Jude?
So we're going back deep to the foundation, man. I credit a lot of my accomplishments and my outlook on life, I'll honestly say, to my favorite person in the world, which is my mom.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've got a very close relationship with my mom. I go to her for advice on, anything dealing with life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Even relationship advice. My mom, I love my mom, man. She's a fire woman, man. I could call her. We could talk for an hour, 2 hours about, help me unpack this scenario, Mom. Like, how do you see this? And, and she advised me as best as she can. So I definitely credit a lot of, my thought process to my mother. And I know I've talked about my mentor, Reginald Guy, and my other mentor, Dr. Dario Cannon, who's a very close friend of mine. So I think in this life, if you don't have to go through it for the first time, just reach out to somebody that might have experienced it already, or has experienced it on myself. I mean, if I don't have to take the risk, I'm not going to take it. You know what I'm saying? But it does take that humility to take heed to that advice. So, like I said, I've got people that I can call and talk to, and they'll pick up the phone for me. So my mom being one of those.
Jude, what now?
What's next for Jude in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years,
yes, goals, accomplishments.
Believe it or not, granted, I've enjoyed my tech career, but I've been probably over the last little bit over a year, I've realized that my personality is leading me towards a career where I engage more directly with people. And some people might, it might be intimidating or they might not like it, but I do think I want to pursue a degree in sales. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can make a lot of money in sales, man. In 2025, I'm thankful that I just became a licensed realtor in the state of Ohio. Haven't put together a plan quite yet to figure out how I'm going to actually, generate business. But I do have a license. I am a licensed realtor in the state of Ohio. I do want to get into pharmaceutical sales. But outside of, my career and actually work, I'm working on a nonprofit, which is kind of aligns with what you guys got going on here.
Right.
But it's to commemorate and give, pay homage to my mentor, Reggie. It's called the Step Into Your Greatness Foundation. And it's not necessarily scholarship, but it's more so sponsorship, right?
Yeah.
So, high school students, college students, just young men, maybe a couple years or right before me that's kind of working on that transition to, to the professional life or trying to navigate college. I want to be able to put my money where my mouth is.
Right.
Mentorship is not just about advice.
True.
You actually got to
put in the work.
Fun.
Yeah,
you know
of
what
course,
I'm saying?
Of course.
If I need to take you to Brooks Brothers or, Joseph Bank and get your measurements, get your sizes, get you a tux, a couple suits, a blazer, some great trousers for you to be able to step into the room and be functional and look like you belong, I need to be able to help from that standpoint. It's not just about what you're going to say in the meeting. They need to look at you and be like, okay, he belongs here. He knows what he's doing. You might have a team. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Give him an opportunity.
Facts.
So I think that's important.
Jude, why Ohio?
Yeah. So, like I said, I went to, so I attended undergrad at Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio. So, went to Central, graduated in 4 years, took my first job in Ohio, and just kind of made a life there. My mentor he passed away in 2020, but he kind of laid out my life for 10 years. But this is before I got into the maturity that I've gotten to now. He's like, all right, Jude, you just graduated from Central. You're going to go to Ohio State. You're going to get your MBA. You're going to do all these different things. I'm like, no, the heck, I'm not. Next I look up 2-3 years. I done graduated from Ohio State, got my MBA. Now I'm working in this field. And you know what I'm saying? So, he gave me the guidance. He gave me the blueprint, gave me the path. And I took heed to advice, and it worked. So I'm just kind of trying to give back and do that for the next young man.
I finally have the pleasure to actually meet someone who's from Ohio, right? I want you to walk me, not from, as far as that's actually reside as there, because I have a specific question for you, right?
Okay.
How was that city when that decision was made? The decision where LeBron came out and said, hey, I'm taking my talent to South Beach.
Right.
Because we saw stuff online, right? How was that state? How was the people there? And personally, what did you see? And also, what was your opinion?
That's crazy how you frame that question, too. Because it was a noticeable difference in the whole state.
Wow.
The state was low-key depressed. I mean, he was the pride and joy of Ohio.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Basketball is one of the things in Ohio. You know what I'm saying? The Cleveland Cavaliers, think of any other professional team. You got the Bengals, the Browns, and the Cavaliers. Right. And LeBron James was the face of sports. When he left, Ohio was kind of depressed for a while. You know what I'm saying? But it's LeBron. You got to make the best decisions for him and his family,
Were you a part of the jersey burning too?
No, I was a Cowboys. Imagine him leaving Cleveland and he go play for Miami. You know what I'm saying? And I can't tell everybody that I'm from Miami. I'm a Heat fan. You know what I'm saying? I just kept it quiet, and while he was, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he, went to the crib, and now he's a Heat. We got 4 champions. I mean, we didn't get all 4, but we got 2 out of 4. But no, to answer your question, the state was depressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about his return?
I mean, it was completely forgiven. I mean, you talking about the actual burned jersey with holes in it.
Right.
That was the original joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, people was actually putting his jersey back on, man. That was very forgiving when he came back. But LeBron means a lot to not just basketball in Ohio.
Right.
Like, he's very influential in Ohio State football, too. So, I mean, the Buckeyes are bigger than the Browns and the Bengals put together, to be honest with you. I mean, they're the number 1 team in the country now. So, but he funds, the athletic program. He's huge. He's huge to the state of Ohio. So to answer your question, when he left, it was depressed. When he came back, very forgiving.
Drew, Jordan or LeBron?
I'm an 80s baby, man. So
here we go.
I'm an 80s baby. I mean, Jordan is just a different beast. I'm going to give it to Jordan, man. LeBron, I commend him. He's a strong number 2.
He's a strong number 2.
He's a strong number 2.
Why you got Jordan over LeBron?
Why do I have Jordan over LeBron? I mean, I think he's just I think I like his style, man. He's just a better basketball player. You know what I'm saying? So much to where, I mean, you almost have a carbon copy of a Kobe. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, even Kobe gave him his credit. You know what I'm saying? And Jordan just couldn't be stopped. And that movie that came out, not the movie, but the series that came out of Netflix, that's what I remember.
You're talking about Final Dance?
Final Dance, yeah. That was Jordan for real. Like, if you grew up during the 80s and the 90s, not the 80s, but the 90s, where most of his dominance was, everybody had to turn around.
Of course. Of course.
Paper ball into the trash can. Jordan, right? Everybody wanted to be Jordan. So I'm going to give it to Jordan. I mean, I just think he was a better basketball player. To be honest with you, just kind of.
Any kids?
No children yet.
No children yet?
Yeah, no unmarried, no children quite yet. Seriously dating right now.
Good.
Which I'm thankful for. I mean, I've been doing that for the past few years. So
good.
I'm being intentional these days, man. Because my mom just, the other day, gave me the worst tongue lashing. Like, Jude, you're 38.
Right.
I mean, I'm giving you some time. Like, when are you going to figure this thing out? Like, Mom,
any siblings? You have siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother. I have a younger brother who's 10 years younger than me, and I have an older sister who's 3 years older than me, and I have another sister in the Bahamas. She's 10 years older than me.
So you have 2 older and then 2 oldest and then, okay. 2 older sisters and then 1 younger.
Yep.
The youngest a pioneer also?
Pioneer, and is a Centralian.
Oh,
graduated
snap.
from Central State too.
Oh, snap.
Mm-hmm. Yep, graduated from Central State.
You make that move for him?
You open the back door for him.
I mean, if you let him tell it, he'll probably say that I paid my own way. But I think I did create some opportunities for him. But he's always been a much better student than me, a much better athlete than me. But after graduation, he was like, bro, I don't want to play football. I just want to go to school and, get my degree. And that, I mean, I've been knew he was a great student, but when he was just going to college just off of academics, because he got a full scholarship from Central State. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I'm like, all right, bro, I'll support you as best as I can. And that was my first opportunity to be a parent.
Oh, that's...
You know what I'm saying? Because I had to, be his parent. I mean, while I was in Columbus, he was at Central. If he called, I had to come down and take care of things. So, yeah. Yep.
So you mentioned that you want to be married.
I do want to be married.
Okay, so Drew, there's another topic going around.
That's all right.
All right?
That's all right.
What do you think about the topic of the 50-50 when it comes to a household?
That's not how I live my life.
Okay.
Any woman that I've dated, I've been brought up that the man pays. Yeah, I mean, I guess 50-50 is an arrangement. I mean, you can offer it. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to get into sales now. You would really have to convince a woman to buy it. That's a much tougher sell than to say, like, listen.
I'll provide.
Exactly. So, I mean, good luck with that, you know what I'm saying? Because I guess there's if we're going to keep on using business terms, I guess there is a market out there for that.
Right. How about if it's needed, though, Jude?
If it's needed, Can you expand on that a little bit? How is it?
As in, like, the dude's income doesn't.
Yeah, because
copy.
Yeah, because we're talking about nowadays.
It's tough out here right now.
It's tough,
dude. A mortgage is like $3,500.
Inflation is up.
We are in Miami, ain't we?
Oh yeah.
So I guess if it's
So you try to tell me?
Wait, right now he stays in Ohio right now?
Yes.
I do live in Ohio.
Okay.
So
Cost of living is much different.
Okay.
Much different.
So I'm guessing men pick up the tabs in Ohio.
Yeah, you could go on a little bit more dates than you can. You know what I'm saying? And you can actually live off a decent salary. But here, I think if I had the salary I had in Ohio here, and I make a decent salary, you know what I'm saying? I might have to choose one and like, listen, this is how many dates I can afford to take.
Yeah, man.
And even then, that's not 50-50. You know what I'm saying? But that's the kind I would have to have a serious conversation with her. Tell like, listen, this is what I'm offering. It's either gonna take it or you're gonna leave it because I can't do much more than this.
Yeah, because
you know what I'm saying?
Back in the days, making 6 figures was a big ordeal, right?
Yeah,
I remember we're talking about early 2000. If you're making that, you're like breaking above middle class, right?
Exactly.
Now it's like you're making 6 figures. It doesn't even stretch that far,
At all. Especially with kids.
Especially with kids and inflation and mortgage and interest rates.
Yeah, he added more variables.
Of course.
To make that 6 figures, I agree, man. 6 figures today is much different. But then also 6 figures is 100,000 all the way to 999,000.
That's
so
true.
It does depend like where
you are in
6
6
figures
figures.
you're talking about.
He's right.
Right.
So I guess more specifically, 100,000 is subjective, what you could do with that.
Yeah.
But going back to your original question, 50-50, that's just not how I live my life. You know what I'm saying? I think I believe in old school ways because a lot of that stuff does work. You know what I mean? I think your engagement with a woman, 50-50 versus, being taking the lead, I think it's a different dynamic. You know what I'm saying? So, because if it's 50-50, you also got to remember that if you start to miss out on your part of the 50-50, it's no longer 50-50, and things can change. She might start looking at you different. Like, I mean, I've been holding my end. Like, what's up with you? I ain't trying to have that kind of conversation with a woman.
But then again, I'm going to ask you a question, right? Mm-hmm. So when we say 50-50, is it just financially? Because when we talk about 50-50, we talk about, is it everything split down 50-50?
I love that question.
Because now you got to think about it, right?
I love that question.
You got to think about it like this, right?
Go for it.
House chores. Is that going to be split 50-50? The responsibilities in the house, is that going to be split 50-50?
Cooking.
Cooking and everything else. Is that, and because time, service, same thing with the kids, because a man can't do what a woman does. I'm just, my opinion. I just think we're two different elements.
I agree with that.
Two different people.
I agree with that, yeah.
And 50-50. Are we splitting it like the house 50-50 down the line? I'm
gonna add an even harder question because there's a standing question for you to answer, right? 50-50 also means if somebody broke in this house,
of course,
I had the last one, you got the next one. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of 50-50 too. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the time the chick is looking at you to figure it out.
Of course.
Yo, this 50-50, I had the last one, like you got this.
Of course.
So I guess that is a standing question. I just want to add another layer.
Yeah, you have that. You have taken out the trash. You have a car breakdown. It's like you asking
that's rough.
You asking your spouse to go to, hey, look, I changed the last tire. You got this. Yeah.
Right, the engagement.
But I think a lot of people talk about 50-50 when it comes to finance. Just that.
All I meant was finances.
Finance, right? Because we also got to talk about spirituality across the board.
True. Yeah. Decision making.
I think people just, so what do you think about that?
What, 50-50?
Yes.
I feel like when it comes to that topic, it's about what works at the moment, right? Because you should have a female that could go 50-50 for 2 years, knowing that you're building something, right? If I'm building my empire, right, and I need to go 50-50 for 2 years, you should be able to stick by me for 2 years, right? Because, I want that 90-10 split at the end where you only handling 10%, I'm handling 90%, but I just can't do that right now. So that's how I think about it.
Right.
I wouldn't build an agreement on 50-50 for 20 years, no.
Right.
But if that's what's needed at the moment, I think she should be able to rock with it. That's my opinion.
I'll agree, but me, I see it a little bit different. Here's why I said that, right? So I don't think that conversation, just like you said something earlier, what is understood doesn't need to be said. If we're in a relationship, the whole idea of saying, hey, look, I need to go take care of this, You need to cover your 50%. I think it just need to be a conversation. We just need to have a conversation. Hey, I need to go take care of this. Automatically, she knows she has to pull a little bit more, right? And you guys just support each other that way. And then when it's time for her to step back, you could provide. That's what a lot of men fail to understand, right? You could provide financially. Right? But when you're looking at a household in itself, you could go off and go to work. You could check out because you could take 10-hour break and check out, right? You thinking I'm bringing home the money. Yeah. But that woman is stuck there. When I say stuck, it's like, because I have a friend of mine who has 4 kids, right? Okay. So those 4 kids you have, that woman cannot check out of that. Wow. Yeah. Right? So that's a full time. That means you at work, you making money. You working overtime, you making money. That's great. But guess what happened? Now that woman has to think for 4 kids. She has to dress 4 kids. She has to play with 4 kids. She has to do homework with 4 kids. Then she has to raise 4 kids. And she still has to go to work. Ooh. So that 50, it's not just about like, hey. Exactly. I think it's just, that gets a lot because, that house responsibility is a lot.
I like how you frame that too, man, because, because like you said, I think that conversation, it's a little distorted, it's a little skewed, because we only think about, like you said, that one element, that financial element. But the thing is, the financial element has so much implications.
Of course.
Because if you're talking about just the financial piece, and she's agreeing to it, she's going to think about other areas too. Like,
of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you only paying 50%. I don't have to give you all this other things that you're asking for. Because a lot of this other treatment and my engagement with you is based on the finance, which is, it's a huge part of the foundation of a relationship too.
That's true.
So, I just think it's a tougher sell.
Right.
I think it's a tougher sell, but I will also challenge us, you know what I'm saying, especially in the culture. Like, I'm thankful for this culture because one thing that we also have a reputation of is comme les Haïtiens, nous connaissons parler.
Of course.
So if you really that smooth, I challenge you to get her to buy that 50-50. Si qu'on parle, show me get her to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's a tougher sell, but I guess
it's tough. Yeah, because the only thing is to sum this up is like, I don't want men to go out there and go sell that and don't think about the ramification that comes behind it.
Exactly.
Right? Because, if you said 50-50, then it's like, well, okay, fine. I'll take 50-50 on the front end. We're going to split everything down 50-50. Ooh. Everything down 50-50. So it's like, hey, I cooked yesterday, today's your turn. Yeah. I did this yesterday, today's your turn.
Ooh, I don't know how that relationship going to turn. That sounds like torture, bro.
I got one more question there in reference to this topic. So what would you tell a 21-year-old that's looking for love? Would you tell him to not date and not get into a relationship until he's financially stable? Or would you tell him he could date and, but if he can assume the responsibility of paying 90 or 80% of the bills? Like, what would you tell a younger man that's 21, 22? Build yourself up first, then date? Or what would you tell him? Same question for you.
That's a good question. No, that's a great question.
Me personally, I would always tell that young man, because society expects you to provide, right? You must always build yourself first, create some type of stability. Okay. You always hear a woman has the gift to multiply, right? She's gonna come in and she's gonna help you build, right? The most dangerous thing I believe any man could do is to find a helper with no work. What do I mean? You bring her in your life, you have nothing for her to do. No plan, no vision, no foundation. Recipe for disaster. Because insecurity is going to be established, and you are in for a rude awakening. But you must first create that stability. You must first create that foundation, and always think of providing, protecting. Get into martial art. Find out how to protect you or your spouse. Find ways to provide, to always be the head of the household at all time. And that's something you continuously have to, because whatever you secure last month, the year before, time and inflation change. So you have to be able to secure something more. But because relationship takes money.
It does.
You get in marriage, it takes money. You save a lot of money. If you're single by yourself, you're just building But if you're in a relationship, it takes time, it takes money. So that you're going to be depleting whatever you have at some point. Even if it's not all of it, I would even say like 25% will be gone.
Yeah.
So how are you going to replenish that? How are you going to keep going? So you must always have that source and always establish that first. That's just my opinion.
I would think in terms of those two things that you put on the table with dating and building up yourself, I don't think you do one before the other. I think you do them both simultaneously.
Okay.
And how's that?
Reason being, because I know it. I mean, I'm 38 years old. I've met enough dudes who've, built themselves up, which is great, proud of. But when it comes to engaging with women, you have no experience. You know what I'm saying? And if you haven't been working on and practicing how to engage, how to lead a woman, all this time, all you've been doing is focusing on yourself, you're gonna fail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think one of the most intimidating things for certain men is engaging with women. You know what I'm saying? And I think, in today's age where, today there's this whole thing, this conversation about, black women and black men, like we're having issues and we're not contributing to the community as in like, you know what I'm saying? I think that I would advise that the remedy to that is for us to try to get back to engaging with each other. And that takes practice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, continue to build your career, continue to build yourself, but still engage with people, talk to women, go out on dates, learn do's and don'ts, be able to, you're going to deal with different personalities. You're going to figure out the personality that you like, you know what I'm saying? Your non-negotiables, you know what I'm saying? That way you can, when you actually do get to a stage in your life, when you do want to choose a person, you want to choose a partner, you want to choose a woman, you can say, okay, I've had enough experience. Here are my non-negotiables. I can't deal with X, Y, and Z. I need a woman that knows how to dress. I need a woman that has pride in herself. I need a woman that's soft and calm and easygoing because I'm a chill type of person. You can actually verbalize that and tell her that so she can say, well, that's not me. I actually like to go out. I like to hang out. I like to kick it. I mean, as far as leadership, this dynamic of a relationship, I'm not signing up for that. I'm more of a 50-50 type of woman. I'm just saying, but that comes from experience. So I guess to answer your question, it's not one thing comes before the other. I would advise for us that we have to continue to date, engage with women, talk to them, because that's how you're gonna learn how to be able to talk to them. Because a chick gonna know, like, okay, this guy has experience with women. Like, you come across a lot of women, don't you? So I've been told. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And if you can talk to her, like, and she can see the confidence, like, okay, I'm gonna try him out. You know what I'm saying?
That Miami swag.
That South Miami swag.
That 305 swag.
That's the culture, bro.
Jude, before we leave, if you could give an advice to anyone who's listening, and also any student who's at the high school now, not only in North Miami, but that's in high school, period. Yeah. Right? What advice would you give them?
The advice that I would give, man, like right now, one of my biggest missions, and I hate to call out a specific group, but today there's this thing, the YN.
The YN.
The YN. I think that's my mission these days. Like I want to offer something to that group. Because the issue that I'm having today with the YN is that there's no rules. No rules as in like, because we considered OGs. I mean, back in our day, if we was talking to somebody our age, there was a level of respect there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the YN these days, like they have no rules. You know what I'm saying? Like if you talking to, a grown man, like there's a level of respect. I want to try to get back to that. And I think, like I've talked about the nonprofit, like the mentorship and sponsorship piece that I'm trying to get back to. That's the group that I really want to target and engage with to show them like, yo, back in our day, this is how things used to be and we need to get back to it because it worked. These days, you know what I'm saying, the young man, sorry to say it, man, I feel like the YN and I look past what they call the ski mask. What they call that? The shiesty.
The shiesty.
The shiesty. I look past the shiesty. I look past, you know what I'm saying, like the hard exterior, man. Like, and I see like they're a little bit emotional sometimes. Like you don't think logically these days. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of throw caution to the wind, and I think it's important for us to go back to sit these young men down and be like, listen, man, I used to be you. You know what I'm saying? Like you too impulsive. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring it down a little bit. You need to have some humility.
Of course.
That's very important. I'm thankful that I was taught humility at a young age, because if I was to approach an OG today, he'll tell me like, all right, Jude, like, I mean, you know what I'm saying, your heart is in the right place, like Reggie told me one day. And that's what makes it easier for us to help the young man. So I guess my advice that I would give is we need to get back to focusing on showing these young men how to be humble. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the next generation coming up. They're the next, hopefully the next corporate professionals, the next police officers, the next politicians. And I think that's important. That's to be a part of their foundation. You know what I'm saying? So I would advise us to place a heavy emphasis on getting back to humility and just being humble.
Jude, thank you so much for stopping by today.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. This was deep to me. I appreciate it.
This is your home. Whenever you're in town, you want to stop by, always stop by.
It's love, man. Appreciate it.
And at this time, we would like to thank all of our continuous sponsors: MC MediPlus, AZ Formal Wears, Gourmet Gathering, Chick-fil-A Miami Shores, and Comprehensive Health Center. Thank you for tuning in, and please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And shout out to Class of 07.